What is poppin', YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we are doing my 2023 wide receiver tier trade rankings based on what I would have to trade to get these elite level guys. A lot of you guys liked the video yesterday asking me to do a little bit more in-depth analysis on what you are having to trade for these elite level wide receiver assets. So we're going to dive into that today. Let's go. Walking through my first wide receivers that we're going to be talking about here today, Justin Jefferson and Jamarr Chase for 3 first rounders. Now, trading 3 first rounders is a lot to be giving up in Dynasty Fantasy Football. But for these elite level assets, you're going to have to be for these wide receivers. Justin Jefferson is on pace to be the greatest wide receiver of all time, if not being the greatest wide receiver of the 2000s. Super impressive stuff that he's putting up. I don't think we realize the quality, the Randy Moss-esque, the Jerry Rice category that Justin Jefferson is currently putting himself in. Now, OBJ was putting himself in before he got all those injuries. And so we definitely understand how fragile that statement is. But you're going to have to be trading 3 firsts for Justin Jefferson. And I'll be honest, I haven't been able to trade for Justin Jefferson anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Jamarr Chase, I did just talk about him in my video yesterday, where I did talk about a trade that I just made for Jamarr Chase. So it definitely is possible. You're going to have to be giving up 3 first rounders, if not 3 first rounders plus, like I had to do. Now, a lot of people have JJ and Jamarr Chase neck and neck. I have them very close, but I do think you do have to pay that extra premium to be getting Justin Jefferson. But with Jamarr Chase tied to Joe Burrow for the next few years, we are excited to see Jamarr Chase and what he is to become. We don't need to really dive a little bit more into it, but 3 first is the price that you will have to be paying for those 2 guys. Moving on to my next tier, we have the 2 first round plus tier, where we have Ceedee Lamb, AJ Brown, and Garrett Wilson. Ceedee Lamb, we've been talking for years about Ceedee Lamb taking that next step, jumping up into that tier with Jamarr Chase and Justin Jefferson. Now, of course, Ceedee Lamb's going off as the wide receiver 3. In startups, he's going at the back end of the first, early second round. Ceedee Lamb is elite, and he's tied to Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys offense. He's always on primetime games. For me, it's going to take a lot for Ceedee Lamb to be able to bump into that next tier. But you do have to trade 2 first round plus, because for those of us that are holding on to Ceedee Lamb, it's because we see those flashes. We see the potential for him to take that next step into that JJ, the Jamarr Chase tier. Then we have AJ Brown, who is tied to Jalen Hurts, the amazing Eagles offense. They're constantly adding to the offensive line. And AJ Brown had a great points per game season this last year. And that's why I have him in the 2 first plus tier. Now, Garrett Wilson, a lot of this is projection. Garrett Wilson has gotten an absolute bump in the Dynasty Fantasy Football community with Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets, with those flashes, with the separation. The metrics are just great for Garrett Wilson. I'll be honest, I love some Garrett Wilson. I love having those conversations of Garrett Wilson or AJ Brown for wide receiver 4 in Dynasty. Now, I think a lot of it is premature. And so you're going to have to be still paying up 2 first plus for Garrett Wilson. And maybe that's too much for Garrett Wilson currently, when some of these guys we could talk about that are maybe a little bit cheaper behind him. But I do love some Garrett Wilson. I love the flashes. And could Garrett Wilson become the next Davante Adams for Aaron Rodgers? I think is very much within the realm of possibilities. So being able to trade now before maybe he gets up into that Jamarr Chase, Justin Jefferson tier, good on you if you can do that. In my next tier, we have 2 first rounders that you're going to have to be trading for these players. I have Amon-Ra St Brown, T. Higgins, Jaylen Waddle, Chris Olave, and Drake London. Amon-Ra St Brown, T. Higgins, Jaylen Waddle. All 3 of those are elite level studs. Typically in startups, you can actually get T. Higgins behind Chris Olave. So this isn't to say that I'm taking T. Higgins over Chris Olave. Like, I just put all these guys in the tier. So don't be judging it. I'm putting these guys in buckets. So just understand that. We're not doing actual rankings. These are just more buckets in the tiers. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, we saw the target hog that he was for the Detroit Lions. T. Higgins is tied to Joe Burrow, is an absolute alpha in the Bengals offense. Jaylen Waddle, we're still waiting for him to become the full alpha of the Miami Dolphins offense. Will the torch be passed to Tyreek Hill to Jaylen Waddle over the next few years? Interesting to see. But Jaylen Waddle, of course, we love the speed. We love the target share. We love the way that he is getting involved. So you can't drop him any lower than this. Chris Olave was a dog with Andy Dalton throwing him the ball as a rookie, putting up impressive numbers. And then, of course, Drake London was a target hog. We don't like to extrapolate data on this channel, but I'm going to quickly give you a little stat. If Desmond Ridder, who started only 4 games at the end of the season, played the full season with Drake London, now I know Kyle Pitts was injured, and that's what a lot of you are going to say, but if he played the full season, Drake London would have been on target for like 179 targets. Let's say that's a little bit ridiculous. If Drake London, like we said, can get in that 140 to 150 target category, he's going to be an absolute alpha dog. And being able to trade 2 first rounders for a guy that has not necessarily put up the actual fantasy football production, but has put up the on-field production that we can say is eventually going to translate to fantasy football success, I think is really important. So those are the guys that I have trading for 2 first rounders. Moving on to the next tier, we have a bunch of guys that you would have to trade a mid first +4. First guy, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf just a few years ago was in the top tier with AJ Brown, but like we know, 2 years ago didn't put up the greatest fantasy points per game. Season was a little bit down. Last offseason, heading into the season, a lot of us were off DK Metcalf because of Geno Smith. Geno Smith comes out, balls out. But DK Metcalf still didn't seem to have the most elite level ceiling. Could he get there? Dude's built like Thor from Marvel. Absolute monster of a man. I love me some DK Metcalf, and especially if you can get DK Metcalf as your wide receiver too. Let's say you have some of these guys up in these other tiers ahead of him. Trading a mid first plus for DK Metcalf, who is still young. He is 25 years old. He's going into the prime of his career. DK Metcalf is the guy I'm trying to target. DeVonta Smith has had the rise. DeVonta Smith was the Heisman winner for Alabama. Comes to the Eagles. First year, pretty good. And then second year, AJ Brown opens up everything for DeVonta Smith. Now we are still worried. Is he ever going to get an elite level target share in an offense where he's sharing the field with AJ Brown? I do not know. But DeVonta Smith feels very safe for an efficient offense. And so trading a mid first plus for DeVonta Smith, who's already put up fantasy football points and is going in the 4th round of Dynasty startups, feels really good. Then I have Jackson Smith and Jigba. I said a mid first plus because let's say you're trying to get the 106. It's Dynasty Superflex rookie draft time, and you know that you need to get to the 106 and you're at the 107, 108. You're going to have to give up that mid first plus to bump up to get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, if you're at the 106, cool, that's the value that he's currently going off at. And honestly, in a normal year, if you're talking like Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably worth the 104, but this year it's pretty stacked here at the top in our rookie drafts. So that's why I have him in the mid first plus category. Then we move on to 4 win now assets who put up just monster fantasy points. We got Stefon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp. However you want those guys ranked, that is totally cool to me. I prefer Tyreek Hill, of course, over all of them because you had the league winning upside. If I had to rank how I would rank these guys, I honestly, Tyreek Hill, for the next 2 years, I have Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, and then Stefon Diggs. Now, a lot of people have Stefon Diggs a lot higher. I can never be taking him. He's going right now in the 3rd in startups. I can really never be taking him there. I know a lot of people are taking him there because he's tied to Josh Allen compared to Cooper Kupp's tied to elbowless Matthew Stafford, and then Davante Adams stuck with Jimmy G and is unhappy. I just can't be doing that to myself. You would have to be trading a mid first plus to get all these guys, especially if you're trying to contend. You know, all of them get you in that 18 to 20 fantasy points per game category when they're playing, which is super productive for your dynasty rosters, and that's why I have them there. And then, of course, sliding into the last player in this tier, we have our man, Jordan Addison. Now, Jordan Addison, you're going to have to draft him at the 107, but this is more putting him in the mid-first plus category, saying, hey, if you're at the 108, the 109, you're going to have to give something a little bit extra to trade up to the 107 to get Jordan Addison. And so those are my thoughts there with Jordan Addison. My final tier is just going to be the first tier, where we got a few guys. We have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk. So both the 49ers wide receivers. Deebo Samuel, a lot of people say that he's a little bit too much like a running back. He's getting up there in age. He's been dinged up a little bit. We don't know what's happening with the quarterback situation for the 49ers. I'm not that worried, but I do think the value of being able to trade one of these first for a player like Deebo, who potentially could put up similar stats to like Cooper Kupp or Stefon Diggs this next season, even though he is used a little bit more like a running back, feels like great value, a little cheaper buy that you could be having. Brandon Aiyuk, if you follow Dynasty IM on Twitter, puts out some great stuff. Talked about how Brandon Aiyuk, even though Brandon Aiyuk is getting up there in age, and we continue to wait to see this absolute breakout that I think a lot of people think could potentially happen for Brandon Aiyuk. He's one of the only wide receivers with his profile, with the amazing rookie season that he had, that hasn't put up a 17 fantasy points per game season yet, and that's exciting. So if you can trade, like we said, like you're at the 110 and you're staring down Dalton Kincaid and you can flip that pick for Brandon Aiyuk, I think you should really do that. Same exact thing with Christian Watson. Christian Watson proved he had a really great rookie season. Honestly, Christian Watson, the fact that people have pushed him down the board because of Jordan Love starting is asinine to me, because I think Christian Watson has the prototypical build of your wide receiver one. He's super fast, super long, super freaky athletic. Trading him, like we said, the 110, the 109. If you're staring down Zay Flowers or Christian Watson, I'm 100% taking Christian Watson. Now, Jerry Jeudy proved last season that he was the alpha in the Denver Broncos offense, as much as people were debating last offseason. Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy proved it. Now, was the offense efficient? No. Did he have the fantasy points per game production that we were hoping for? No. But I think all those could definitely go up here, and that's why I have him as in the first category. Jahon Dotson had an amazing rookie season with all the touchdowns. Now, a lot of people are projecting him to regress in those touchdowns and saying, hey, he's probably not as talented as we think he is. I think he's the clear wide receiver too. Now, I don't necessarily think Sam Howell is the answer in Washington, but even if there's some type of better quarterback play than Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, that's going to be improvement for Jahon Dotson, and that's why I have him here in the first. Michael Pittman feels like the modern day DJ Moore, this guy that we're constantly waiting for to get a quality level quarterback that can throw him the ball because he's open. He has a really great yards per separation. We're just waiting for the touchdowns, the receptions, the targets to kind of finally all blend together and get a ton of fantasy points. Now, it hasn't happened yet. yet. Like I said, it hasn't happened yet, and we've been giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is going to be a great fantasy quarterback. Is he going to be a great quarterback for Michael Pittman's fantasy value? That is what I don't know. But I still have to have him here in the first tier because if I'm being honest, if someone offered me the 110, if I had the 110 and I offered it for Michael Pittman, I would be ecstatic about that trade. Final player in this first tier, we have Jamo. Now, a lot of you are off Jamo because he climbed all the way into the top 50s on KTC this offseason for no apparent reason other than all of us were watching the 3 highlight plays where he scored touchdowns or potentially could have scored a touchdown. And we were like, wow, just imagine this extrapolated on a full season. And I know it didn't happen. And then I know he got suspended. He was betting on games. But just like he bet on those college kids, we are betting on him. So I'm betting on Jamo to be able to actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about Jamo in that mid-first tier this next year, just because I think he has that much talent. I'm just very sad with what happened in his situation. So if you like this video today, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Best free way to help support me on the channel. We will actually be going live later tonight with a mock draft, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.